Hi, my name is Theodore Cottingham. I'm a common, ordinary guy, 73, Eureka Springs, Arkansas, USA. And my message is peace, not. My message today is we've been covered up by anxiety and fear because of what we've been taught. And what we've been taught to be, we create because we are creators. We have been taught there's a heaven and a hell, good and evil. And we see the effects of it. We see the effects of good. We see the effects of what we consider evil. We have all of these stories that govern our world, and make us powerless in it for the most part. Where are the powerful people? Where are the people who initiate? Why does it seem so innate? Why does it seem that so many people are intent on creating fear, fomenting shame, dominating people, wanting to control your mind, your body, your purse, your thoughts, your life? Remember, there was some ancient writing that says something about there was no sin until there was law. I suggest to you that we are creating adversaries for ourselves and each other, adversaries of our freedom, magnifying our ignorance, worshiping our fear, making our fear our God, motivated by fear to worship God, fear using our power. It's not a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the wrath of the living God when you know God has no power over you. Lust, love, hell, death, and the grave. God, Satan, has no power over you. Are you walking out? Are you willing to walk out? Are you willing to see a new story, a new creation, a beautiful creation? Where you look like you want to, you're a little prettier, thinner, etc. But what if you're creating a creation that's amorphous? What if beauty is not determined by shape and texture and color? What if There is a world we knew before time began that we are now emerging into. We are emerging into the past that before time began, all of life as we have known it, all of history as it has been conveyed to us, before there was any law, before there was any hell, before there was death, before there was isolation, before there was the yearning for friendship, a friend, before there were so many languages. What if the Tower of Babel story is a story of before time began? What if a lot of these stories that we have, we've completely misunderstood, misinterpreted, because we create them within a certain timeline? We think they exist. We think they applied. They originated. We think they originated within a certain framework. And our understanding is modeled, confined by that framework that we think we are processing that information in. So our light becomes dim, damned. And our beauty is demented, diminished. I've sought God all of my life. God. All of my life, I say, the majority of it, most of it, with more than desire, but discipline. I was motivated. And see, I've talked in recent months especially about my path. Going to early morning prayer an hour a day for years. Communicating with something. Beginning to learn to channel. Having no precedent for it. Being made fun of. All along the way. Causing problems at home is an understatement. My wife never believed I was communicating with God, with love. Had no use for my words. I wrote a book, she wouldn't even read it. I self-published it in the year 2000. Constant pushback, resistance. But I had 2 children. A boy and a girl. Wonderful. Ha! Terrific. Still are. They're 41 and 43 now. You see, conversations create our world. Conversations comfort us, bring us solace. Conversations, stories, teach us, guide us, warn us, provide information, provide visualization, enabling sight, fueling understanding, often fueling fear. And we create what we think. Or do we think what we create? Or are we creators thinking? Or are we baffled about all the obfuscation, the discombobulation of all that we experience on a daily basis with syllables, with feelings, feeling inadequate, enamored, euphoric, disappointment and despair, sometimes all within a matter of minutes. A range of emotions, energy. You know, the God story was a good story. It was effective. It placated our minds for hundreds of years, several thousand years. The God story, the devil story, the good versus evil story. A good story, I guess. It was effective. Lots of variations of it. Billions of people live their life according to how they interpret that story of good versus evil. Oh, there was a God. There was a creator. And I serve the creator every which way but loose. Every which way but loose. But I'm loosing now that framework from me. I have come through it. And I'm not asking you to. I'm inviting you to see. Not just comply with my words, wants, wishes. I can say, I hold before you. I hold? No. You hold this day the power of life and death. In your tongue? What do you know about you or your power? What do you know about all these stories? Most people haven't spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours investigating how the Bible was written, compiled, modified, constantly by publishers, translators, how it's interpreted so many times. Not many people have spent 1,000 hours, I don't think, literally studying that. I don't know that I know anybody that prays 10 minutes a day. What I call prayer, what I learned to pray. I remember my mom. She went on she took a trip abroad. And at one point, it was supposedly all preachers, pastors, evangelicals. And during one of the fine dinners, my mom asked, she began to ask them what their prayer life was like. And finally she said, how many of you pray more than 10 minutes a day? I think they were, I don't know, a round table. What, 8, 6, 10? I don't know. One raised their hand that they prayed 10 minutes a day. A pastor, preacher, whatever. You see, we commonly take in information. And I suggest to you that the mind innately is programmed to judge. Not condemn, but to judge, to make a decision with the least amount of information possible, as quickly as possible. To glance, to hear, oh, that means. And we live shallow lives. We don't investigate, we don't examine, we don't do our due diligence. We don't even know what due diligence is. Living our lives according to something that people have told us because, oh, well, billions of people can't be wrong. But they can, and they are. The Santa Claus story. I never dreamed I would compare Santa Claus to God and God to Santa Claus. I understood what blasphemy was. I understood. I studied the Bible many times at length, not with intent to get a degree, but to become, to know the author. I wanted to know the source. I wanted to know the source. I didn't want to know about the source. I wanted to know the source. Why did the source say certain things? And what do they mean? How do they affect me? How do they affect the earth? What does this mean? What does John 14:12? I speak of that verse hundreds of times. Jesus said, if you believe in me, you will do the things I do and greater. But see, Orthodox Christianity comes along and the commentarians and the people that operate in their cognitive logic. They want to explain the verse and they don't know what the verse means. So they say what they think the verse means. And other people adopt that meaning. The blind leading the blind. Oh, well, it couldn't mean that you do. See, they take it out of the realm of the possible, probable, the intent of the author, and emasculate it. Oh, it could, that, what, I've heard, oh, what that means is all of us together, all of humanity, get saved and then do more than Jesus did. I've heard that argument. I've heard, you know the story. I'm inviting you to lay down the stories that have guided your life, that have limited you to thinking, believing, creating your own limitations, your own world, limited to the visible, empirical, five-sense mind. Let us lay aside the basic principles of this world and go on. Go on to where? My name is Cosmic Leadership. Why? Because I know what born again is. I know that John 3:8 defines born again. John 3:8, do you know it by heart, by memory? Have you thought about it hundreds of hours? It's even in red. I place more value on some verses than others. And I place more value, weight, validity on some stories than others. And as I have sought to know love, love is communicated. And love has corrected. You see, if I bear untruth, if I understand, if I hold a story as being something real that may even guide my life, but it's not accurate, it's faulty, maybe the opposite of what it's supposed to be conveying. But if I hold that as true because I think it's valid, I create the validity of it in my mind. I corroborate it. I validate it. I create its own authenticity in my mind. So unless you learn, unless you're willing to come as a little child before love, love will not teach you its heart. Love will not teach you directly. You will never channel love. If you want to hold your Bible as truth, the model of truth, your standard of truth, the ultimate and only Word of God, you'll never channel love. And ultimately, you already know the inevitable result of your belief system, don't you? You're going to become more and more decrepit over time and use your last breath to crawl into a casket and hope somebody says something nice at your funeral. This is not life. This is slavery to the flesh, being controlled by the mind of the beast. The mind, the common mind, the individual mind, the mind of humanity is the cruelest thing that exists on this planet. It's the constant companion called the accuser of the brethren. It conveys inadequacy. It constantly uproots light, love, and peace. It foments conflict. It instills fear. It grows the tree of fear. It grows the chains that chain you to the stories and uses your own power, life, blood, breath to keep you enchained in the stories. But you're not limited to the stories. See, honestly, you may think it's oversimplification, but it's just like as you grew up, one day you laid down the story of Santa Claus, that there was a Santa Claus at the North Pole with all his reindeer and elves making gifts to supply your every need, to bring you all you wanted. But Santa was keeping a list of right and wrong. Did you do good this year? Were you a good little girl? Were you a good little boy? Did you go to church every Sunday? Did you tithe? Did you wear your hair to be in conformity with the cultures of your church? Your dress, the length of your dress, the colors? See, Jesus came and talked about the heart, what happens in the mind. And Jesus learned how to do the things he did. And a lot of people began to immediately follow him because they'd never seen or felt such love, power, miracles. But the religious hated him because they couldn't control him. Their stories couldn't control him. Their authority could not confine him. So they began to go to politics, the political realm, the rulers. There's a larger story in the works. There's a larger story in play. You existed before time began, before Genesis 1:1 ever took place. You, my friend. We are not limited to these flesh bags. We have been taught to be afraid. We have been taught fear. We have been taught good versus evil. We've grown the tree of good and evil. That's the only tree we've grown. You think Eve took a bite of the apple in a real and true story in the Garden of Eden 6,000 years ago or something? My friend, that's us every day. Every day we bite the apple. We think we know what's good and evil. And by George, we operate in our power to judge. To judge is to make a decision. But mostly it's in condemnation rather than creation. We become masters of destruction, especially in church. We draw little lines. We make our world small because the leaders make our world small, because they demand, they design a lifestyle and convey some kind of lifestyle that limits us to their thoughts, to their designated diction and grammar, how they walk, talk, what they eat and what they don't eat. Don't you see? It's all about control. Patriarchy is all about control. 100%. I abolish patriarchy in my life, all around my life, and in my world. And my world is not limited to yours. I lead. I lead out of faith. I lead out of the story of the Santa Claus God. I lead out of your devil theories and your systemic evil that so many of you preach the gospel of Christ. You're ignorant. You haven't done your homework. You don't know the source. You've never met the author. You've never allowed correction. You've never allowed love to sit down and be intimate with you. If you believe the teachings of Orthodox Christianity, if religion rules your life, you may be doing fine. You may be affluent. You may be content and happy to fall into a grave and say, I lived a good life. I'm ready to go. Who did you hurt along the way, and how many times did you hurt? What could you have done? What could you be? What if all of us are a part of a race? Before the Tower of Babel story, before time began, we all communicated, and we didn't need syllables. We didn't even need breath in our lungs because we didn't have lungs. We didn't have a bowel system, an endocrine system, a nervous system. We weren't a bundle of nerves. We were light people. We were light people that communicated when we wanted to communicate by intent. A thought. Just like, I think I'm going to touch this microphone. I'm going to phone XYZ. Just like I intend and I have action. The thought to touch the mic, the thought to pick up the phone, to call someone to pick up the phone first. Gateways of thought. What are your axon hillocks and your neurons? What is that brain doing to you, my friend? The physical brain. You could say, oh, it allows you to think, gives you intelligence, gives you a system of consciousness. It also is a system of consciousness, I suggest to you, that limits you, limits your world, surrounds you with not peace, but conflict. And we're laying down all the stories. We're going beyond the story of God. If you're in my teaching, oh, that's an interesting way to say it, in my teaching. What I bring to you, what I offer you. I'm not offering you a bowl of soup to exchange your birthright. I'm offering you a meal, a feast of paradise. Because I know the truth, because I met her. She who has a womb, she who looks nothing like a human being, but can. Because it communicates. There's no hierarchy in love. None whatsoever. There's no patriarchy. There's no matriarchy. There's no archbishop. There's no pope. There's no emasculation of who we are. Nobody castrates us. We are not computation machines for other people's algorithms, for the words that they speak. We're growing up. We're coming out of the grave. I mean the crib. We're beginning to learn who we are so that we become born again. Born again. Because we're creators. We're learning we're creators to recreate us in the power of our word. And know these things by becoming. Not a mastery of isolated information so that I can demonstrate my intelligence, my mastery, my importance, the value of my salary. Are you willing to walk into the Red Sea? Not just striking a rock with your rod. Are you willing to walk into the water? Deeper and deeper and deeper until it parts. and you see that you walk across on dry ground. A model, a metaphor, an allegory, fiction, nonfiction. You decide. You decide every day. You decide every day who you are in your mirror and what stories govern you. You may not live your life for Santa Claus, but you may live your life for God. Devoted I was. Words are important. But my friend, I tell you what's more important than the words. More important than any words you can speak. More important than the words of any story is the motive of your heart. The motive. The motive of your heart. What do you really want? Not what you give voice to, not what you tell the preacher, your wife or husband. What do you really want? What do you really want? You want a friend? Oh, I understand. Friendship is powerful. We influence each other in vast, enormous ways. And sometimes we're so egregious to each other and we have no idea. I suggest to you, the day of God is over. You see, I so often say something like that has magnanimous, it has infinite ramifications, repercussions. It's cataclysmic to my world. It's certainly cataclysmic to the world that I knew. And now I'm walking out. I'm walking out of the world I knew. I am cosmic. I adorn me. I grow what I want to in my life. Neurons that aren't afraid of your neurons, nor what you speak with your words, nor what you come at me with, a sword of metal, a loaded gun. You think that's going to stop my word? Cut my head off? I will be with you wherever you are. You cannot stop my mind. My mind loves me because I met her. I met she who is. I met her in my words. I met her through what I channeled. My heart had become enmeshed, entangled, intertwined, interwoven, light with light, where light weaves a life together in the womb of the mind. Of friction no more. Control can no more control it. We are wicked no more to each other. evil, vile. And all those who have been so brutal to us, we no more torment them. We forgive them. Whether we forget it or not is not the issue. We do not power a force against them using our power to contain a memory, a thought, a system of retribution, vengeance, or punishment. Love is so different than the idea, the portrayal, the story of God that says it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. I invite you to have no fear. But if you have no fear, I suggest to you, you have to ungrow it. Because all of us have grown so much fear. There have been so many fearmongers. Fear of the devil. Fear of hell. Fear of lack. My friend, you're the creator. And this is what we're coming to. The knowledge, rightly dividing the word of truth. Truth may give us a story that may be truth for a while it leads us. You know, until I rode a bicycle the first time with training wheels, I didn't know the value of the training wheels. I could look, I saw them, but I didn't know how they would affect me. But they were valuable to me. For a few days. And then I was ready to take those damn things off. I was ready. And Dad took those training wheels off. And off I went. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Aren't you ready to take the training wheels off? Aren't you ready to lay down your Santa Claus? The God story. You see, it's based on fear, and there's no fear in perfect love. And it's time to discern God from love. Love will teach you directly. Whether you call it God or not, whether you call it the operation of the living new and eternal covenant or not. Whether you have the right phrase for it or not does not make it so or not, except to you. But when you're open to love, love will teach you. And when you're open to channeling love, where you become willing to go where, I love the phrase, of course, Star Trek, I think it is, that made it famous, to go where no man has gone. Are you willing to go to the cosmos? Are you willing to be resurrected? Are you willing to be glorified? Are you willing to be no more limited to flesh? Are you willing to do the things Jesus did and more? And if you're not willing, don't come to this school. But if you're willing, be assured, it is cataclysmic to your old life. You know the definition to cataclysmic? Something that shifts, something that changes the very fundamental tenets. T-E-N-E-T-S, the very pillars that something rests on. Ideas resting upon ideas. That create dimensions that limit your vision. Cosmic leadership. What a concept. Are you willing to come out of the concept, out of the shell of your soul, your mind, your body? Are you willing to do a new thing? Are you willing to go new places? Are you willing to meet new people? People who look nothing like you. People you can converse with where you feel no pushback. And when you come into their presence, there's no fear. You don't feel their assessing you. Oh, she got fat legs, or she's fat, or he's heavy, or he's poor. Or they're not my class, they're not my style. You ever walk into a clothing store? An upscale one? You walk in and some lovely model says, "Hi." A one-syllable word. And you feel their eyes looking you over from head to toe. How much money you have to spend. Whether they're worth spending any moment with you or not. Will you love me equally? Will you love the affluent, the beautiful, the shapely, the gorgeous, and love the toothless, those who have no shoes, equally? Will you no longer let your love be confined to some story? Will you let your love out? Will you release love? Will you be grace? Not just show gracefulness to some people. Will you be it? Will you love love? Will you be love in two shoes? Love in two shoes, not limited to earth. This school, my school, I call it Theodore Cottingham School of Cosmic Leadership now, because I realized this is not just a school to help you live your flesh life and then die. The cosmos is your playground. Time, space, gravity do not operate like you think. They construct your world no more if you're me. A me with meons, a particle, a wave. Massless. You see, many, many times as I've channeled, I've experienced so many double entendres, triple, multiple layers of meaning combined through construction. Combined through construction that used my energy because I sought to know truth, and truth felt it. Truth, no matter what you call it. Pure, pristine, perfect love. Original source love. Before this God thing was ever invented. Before there was ever a story of a tree, two trees in the garden. Who talks about the tree of life? We didn't want the tree of life. So many people don't care, not even open to the tree of life today, as long as they can eat off the tree of good and evil, where they can decide, just like Neo talking to Morpheus said, I want to be in control of my life. I want to control my life in the here and now, thank you. Not understanding what your own creativity is doing to you when you say these words, when there's more. There's an active romance available to you. Active romance with one person, not with flesh, but with beings of light, where we love each other, not limited to time, space, and gravity, not monogamous. Not sensuous, not erotic. More. There's so much we haven't known. And to why we are in flesh. Who created this flesh? Why we are so dumb, stubborn, and stiff-necked. I have addressed a number of times in my teachings this year. You can find them. You can find what you want. And you can create the life you desire. You just want more affluence, more sex, more money, a great legacy. You may or may not attain those things in this flesh life. But there's more to living than life itself, as we have known it by the stories that have governed us. Okay? I love you. The message is clear. I am me. I am going to my cosmos, not limited to just one. And who goes with me can be me. For you are creating you. You are not separate from what we used to call God. You never have been. There's no fabrication of any dimension that can keep you out, locked in your life of thought any longer, if you're willing to walk out. Walk out of Egypt, slavery. Please don't wander 40 years in the desert. Please don't meander, creating some kind of circuitous route, going back to your own vomit. Leave the pig pen of life. Leave the roles that have been cast for you to live in. You have a crown waiting for you, not. You grow it. And you grow it by the word, living and adorned by failure no more. I'm asking you to see you as the beautiful you, the real you, the cosmic you. And be not afraid of what you don't know. There's no fear in perfect love. And I bring you to the marriage of technique, not formula, not. But the banquet feast in the heavens. To return, to become, to originate, to create. The real you, the true you, that is true to you. To all be one, to love each other. The revelation of the Christ, this is the revelation of the real you. Be not limited to the thoughts of anyone else's mind. Create your story. Be the living word. Channel love, light, and peace. Pick up your pen every day, multiple times a day. Write for 10 minutes. Write. Just pick up your pen and begin writing. Surrenderedly. With the preeminent motive of love. To hear love and let love speak to you. And don't edit it. Write in a stream. Let love teach you directly. Let love caress you. Let love correct you. And give you life so that you form it no longer limited to flesh, but you enter the heavens of the mighty one, all being the mighty one, no longer in the weak force of your sorrow. I love you all. My name is done. Done for now. I've invited you many times to the school to see me in your mirror, to see you as love, and love her, love you, the real you, that generates a place, the peace of paradise. With your memory no longer erased by man, but living the word of I am one. O-N-E, one. Okay, TheodoreCottingham.com is my website for now. My school for now, Theodore Cottingham. The world of cosmic leadership? No. The love of cosmic leadership? No. The love of love. You birthing it. No longer limited to a soul, the chakras, the energy systems of failure. You're no longer a testament to somebody else's belief. I'm asking you to create your new life. You in it, you being it, the destroyer of your worlds no longer used by sorrow. Theodore Cottingham, Theodore Eureka at Gmail. TheodoreCottingham.com. I love you all. Share these words. Live them. Love them. Invite them. Invite love. Invite love to write through you. Invite love to correct you. Pick up your pen. 10 minutes. 10 minutes 10 times a day. You choose, my friend. You see, the power of life and death is in your tongue. Choose life. Choose love. Love each other. Forgive every man, woman, and child, and let words hurt you no more, because you're becoming the power of your own, the original. I love you. Do some things you've never done before. Call a person. Call a few people. Tell them you love them. For no good reason at all. Just tell them, I love you. I just wanted you to hear my voice. I love you. Let the beautiful you, the unlimited, infinite, eternal, interdimensional, cosmic you be freed this day from your image and all that wants to give you its world and confine you in it. Burst out, break out, deliver you. The new delivery, the new birth. The kingdom of God, kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of the infinite within. Birth in your love this day, and wear your crown of graciousness, life, and peace, because you are the light of the world. You are the life. I love you all. See you later. Write me, contact me. You know where I am. You may have a good idea how I live. This is my place for now. But I go where I've never been before, or at least in thought. And I invite you to go where you've never been. Do things you've never thought doable. Heal the land, heal the people, heal you. Let love flow. The first person words of love, light, and peace. Creating, demonstrating the construction, the creativity of the palace of light. Reality that knows no bounds. I love you. Good day. See ya. Contact me if you want to. The choices, the big choice is yours. The ball's in your court.